They're not fighting for their father. They're fighting for their survival.
Diddy's children are finally trying to escape. After years of manipulation, fear, and control, they've had enough. This time, it's not just rumors. They're leaving for good. Jaguar Wright, who predicted this years ago, said it best. Diddy had this coming.
And these are children who not only are attached to all of this wealth and privilege, but now they're the children of the devil. It doesn't matter if they've done nothing wrong. They're all going to assume they know something, no matter what they do. They could sit on 1 million charities from here to now, and they will all be known as Diddy's children. That's just like being called Rosemary Baby. They're screwed. Nobody wants anything to do with that. And when it gets to that point, they just shun you. Like I said, what they gonna do? Open up a bunch of wing stops?
For years, Diddy's power extended far beyond the music industry, even into his own home. His sons were named in multiple disturbing lawsuits, accused of witnessing and even enabling his worst behavior. When the FBI raided Diddy's mansion, they found drugs, guns, and baby oil scattered across the rooms. His kids lived there. They saw it all. Why didn't they stop him? Jaguar Wright says they were trapped, financially, emotionally, and psychologically. They stayed silent because they believed they had nowhere else to.
When you're dealing with the kind of narcissistic control freak that Diddy is, and you raise children under that, the financial abuse for all of them is probably the worst. Because there's no way they can make money without him. He has them locked in. And if he falls, who's going to hire them? Who's going to fund them? Who's going to look out for them? No one.
Right.
No one. They're not fighting for their father. They're fighting for their survival.
Bree Christian and Justin Combs weren't just bystanders. They were named in lawsuits connected to Diddy's private freakoffs. Some victims claim the sons even helped find new women for their father's parties. Jaguar Wright says Diddy's toxic influence corrupted them completely. Living in his world blurred the lines between fame and evil, and they grew up thinking it was all normal.
And I'll say it again, especially with what is happening with Kim's sons. I'm so grateful that she doesn't have to witness any of this. Because this probably would have killed her.
What's stopping?
Any white Christian under scrutiny, Quincy being mocked and scorned, the girls now being implicated into home in the essay with their father by a girl who worked the white parties. Like, this is a lot.
If Diddy falls, his kids fall too. They lived off his money. None of them built real careers. Without Diddy, they lose everything. That's why they've always protected him, no matter how dark the truth got. But when reports surfaced that one of his own sons helped him cover up crimes, people were disgusted.
And they didn't choose it. They were born into this. I don't think anybody's paying attention to that. The choice that they got. If that man calls and say, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, what else are they going to do? They gotta bet on him. I'm sure they're all praying he makes it, because if not, what are they going to do? And they definitely can't count on Grandma Janice. They're screwed. One way or the other, they're screwed.
So there's no escape for them.
How? Was there escape for OJ's children? Their daddy is the new OJ. And we already know he done it. Like OJ's kids went through hell and there was reasonable doubt. We didn't see a video of him doing anything. We didn't see him running around in a towel with a knife, with a, you know. We seen that with the diddler.
When Diddy faced sentencing, his kids begged the court for mercy. They said their father deserved a second chance. The judge replied softly, "I know it was difficult for you, but I needed to hear this." What the public didn't know is that Diddy forced them to say those words.
All 6 of Diddy's adult children went to the podium and addressed the court. First Quincy, then Justin, then Christian, saying their dad is their superhero. And although he has made mistakes, the man that stands before us today is a changed man. They say he is more patient and remorseful. Christian getting choked up as he spoke. But then his 18-year-old daughter, Jessie, went to the mic. As she sobbed, she begged the judge to give her dad a second chance, saying she lost her mom at a young age and already has experienced so many milestones without her dad. Her sisters, Delilah and Chance, echoing the same sentiment. All of them heavily sobbing into the mic, just saying, please give my dad a second chance. They too reiterating that he is a changed man and that his demeanor is much different. Diddy is only a few feet away from them. He moved his chair so that he could face the podium. He's not crying, but his head is heavy and his hands are in his lap. Delilah telling the judge that she knows what it's like to grow up without a parent and she doesn't want this to happen to her 2-year-old sister, Love. She says every night the toddler asks where her dad is. She then asked the judge to give her dad a second chance, not as a headline, but as a human being. At this point, several of Diddy's attorneys are also wiping away tears. The judge empathetically said, "I know this was difficult for you guys, but I thank you. I needed to hear this." The defense then played a 10-minute video highlighting Diddy as a father, a businessman, a philanthropist. Now, another thing I want to know is right before his family spoke, it was his attorney, Nicole Westmoreland, who was on the podium talking about all his accomplishments, how throughout the years Diddy has gone out of his way to help people, and how that's his purpose and calling. And then Nicole Westmoreland broke down. Through tears, she talked about his ascent through the business world, how he started the Sean John clothing company, and how he's an inspiration to his community. And then through sobs, she said, "He inspired me," and talked about an experience in a speech that touched her that he gave a few years ago at an event.
In court, Diddy was manipulating from behind bars. Prosecutors revealed that he and his family were contacting victims, trying to silence them. Several victims suddenly refused to testify. One even wrote a letter saying Diddy was innocent. Behind the scenes, Diddy was still pulling strings.
All right, sing Happy Birthday to Daddy.
To Daddy, happy birthday to Daddy. Happy birthday. Keep going.
Happy birthday to
Daddy.
Keep going, love.
Happy birthday to Daddy.
Yay!
We love you too.
Love you, Pastor. We miss you.
I can't wait to see y'all.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see y'all. And I just want to say I'm proud of y'all. I'm proud of y'all, especially the girls. I mean, all of y'all. But just for being strong. Thank y'all for being strong, and thank y'all for being by my side and supporting me. I love y'all. I got the best family in the world. My birthday, I'm happy. Thanks to y'all giving me this call. Thank you very much. I love y'all.
Jaguar Wright says she saw it coming. From her sources inside, she knew Diddy was making hundreds of phone calls from jail. Not to his family, but to his victims. Even after being caught, he couldn't stop the control. The victims tried to report it. Police didn't move fast enough.
Let me ask you, they looked at Diddy as one, a possible flight risk, but as two, as he could coerce witnesses. With having $75 million at his disposal, isn't that by nature the exact thing that they're worried about? If you have this much money, that you could make this thing, you could probably make people disappear if you really opted to.
See, this is the thing. That'll just make more trouble. Why would he make more trouble now? He done already bought off and paid off everybody he possibly could. Have you looked at the indictment? Like, he called some witnesses up to 54 times.
Yeah, 200 and how many Angel? 200 something people. Yeah. He tried to reach out to.
Like, what are you running, a telethon or a telemarketing agency? Telemarketers don't make that many calls in one day. Or sometimes not even in a week, all depending on you was on that. You down for Diddy? Like, how does that conversation start? Hey, what's up? You know, I really feel bad about that last time I bashed you in the face with a Ciroc bottle. Was we good? Like,
Diddy knows his kids depend on him. He uses that dependency like a weapon. They can't survive without him, and he knows it. To him, family isn't love, it's leverage.
and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to sit up there and judge anybody and what they want to do for their parent or their financial provider. Because I'm sorry, do any of those children have a means for earning a living outside of the Combs enterprise? I don't think so.
I mean, King Combs.
Doing what?
I don't know.
What's he do? Other than post on his dad's timeline and make music videos that I don't know that anybody actually watches. What do they do? What do any of them do?
What does Paris Hilton do, I guess? Hell.
Paris Hilton is a wife and a mother now.
Very
She's not
true.
making
Very
STS tapes anymore.
Very true. Very true.
Ain't none of them married and don't none of them have no kids. So what do they do?
Do they have the ability to speak for the father, though, based on jail phone calls saying that he's a changed man?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't even care. Really? I don't care.
During Diddy's trial, prosecutors described what he did to Cassie and Kim Porter. His daughter stood up and left the courtroom in tears. Since then, rumors say Delilah, Chance, and Jesse are trying to cut ties completely, and may even file for emancipation. They don't want to be known as Diddy's kids anymore.
Twice during Phillips' testimony per People magazine, Diddy's 3 daughters, Chance, Delilah, and Jesse, left the courtroom. One of the occasions was during his testimony from May 12th, where Phillip alleged around 2012 or 2013 he had been given, quote, a few $1,000s to have sex with Cassie while Combs watched. Per NBC News, he told jurors, quote, we ended up having sex, rubbed baby oil on each other for a couple of minutes, while describing Diddy touching himself while watching them. Prosecutors also played in court the hotel security footage from 2016 obtained by CNN, where Diddy is seen assaulting Cassie. While the video was played, according to People, Diddy's daughters and mother remained in the courtroom but did not look at the video, looking straight ahead, while Diddy's sons watched.
Let me tell you, not only because he had left, he was in the back of the court and then he went, I think they took up to like a back room, but the you know, all the Diddy kids are there, right? So his daughters are there. I was sitting behind them. It was awkward for me to watch them have to listen to all of this. After he started, the male Esther started getting into a lot of the masturbation and stuff, they got up and left. Who
told him to leave? Did Diddy say leave or?
No, Diddy didn't tell them to leave. I don't know if there was a conversation or not. I looked up from writing and I saw them get up. So I don't know. But I know that they were like checking on each other throughout. I saw them ask like Christian at one point, like, you okay?
But the moment the sentence was announced, Diddy cried in court. His family smiled and walked out. Was that love or relief?
Chaotic scenes as Diddy's family came to court to support him at his sentencing.
How you feeling today, Mama?
His mother, Janice, was followed by his son, Quincy, and 3 daughters who entered court hand in hand. Another son and his girlfriend were also there to show their support.
The reality and the truth is painful, but undeniable. Some of Diddy's sons are accused of the same crimes he committed. In April 2024, Grace Omar Kay filed a lawsuit against Christian King Combs, accusing him of sexual assault and emotional abuse during one of Diddy's yacht parties. She says her drink was drugged, and when she passed out, she was violated. If this lawsuit succeeds, Diddy's children could end up behind bars.
And she was 25 years old at the time. She believed that the trip would be a, quote, wholesome family excursion, but says it, quote, turned into a hedonistic environment, even describing rampant drug use among sex workers and celebrities who came on board. She believes that the alcohol on the yacht had been laced with drugs because she says women would have one drink and then almost immediately pass out or start falling over. This is, by the way, something that it was also alleged in Jones's lawsuit, that Combs would spike the drinks of different people. But focusing on Christian Combs, Markey says that Christian Combs had been staying at a villa on the shore, but that he would come onto the yacht in the evening to party. And on December 28, 2022, Christian reportedly arrived very intoxicated, and then proceeded to pressure Omarky to take shots of tequila. She did. Christian allegedly tried to get her to drink more in the yacht's makeshift studio. Omarky alleges that Christian kissed her neck, kissed her face, as he groped her legs, breasts, and private areas.
And 50 Cent warned everyone. Before Diddy's sentencing, he wrote to the judge calling Diddy dangerous and manipulative. He claimed Diddy's sons were part of the same dark world, and if Diddy ever walked free, they'd go right back to their old ways. He wasn't wrong.
Judge Submaranian. Now, he posted this as a text message. I don't know if this was a text message to his lawyer, where maybe he was instructing his lawyer to write this letter to the judge. If you don't know, the judge is accepting letters in the case of the sentencing of Sean P. Diddy Combs, who's set to be sentenced tomorrow. And 50 Cent decided to write his letter to the judge as well. If you don't know, at this point, I think it's abundantly clear that 50 Cent is the baby father of the child that belongs to not only 50, but the woman that is identified as Jane Doe. That woman, I think we now know, is Daphne Joy. So Daphne Joy's baby daddy is 50 Cent. So maybe there's a reason and there's some relevance here for 50 to have somewhat of a letter being sent to the judge. Why? Well, one of the two victims, or the main two victims, which is victim one, we all know is Cassie, but victim two is known as Daphne Joy. Who's Daphne Joy's baby father? 50 Cent. So he writes a letter and he says, "Dear Judge Submaranian, I've had an ongoing dispute with Puffy for over 20 years. He's very dangerous. Multiple times I have feared for my life. I think you should consider the safety of the general public, Your Honor, before unleashing him upon them. There hasn't been enough time for him to reform or make any adjustments, despite his trying to teach a class in there." This is how you know he actually wrote this. This is bad grammar. Despite him trying to teach a class in there. As you're already aware, the government has spent maximum amount of money on deploying federal agencies, which appear to be an army, in two locations simultaneously. Later, his sons, who's dealing with his own R-word allegations, claimed that the feds had hit the wrong house. Anyway, Diddy's only going to return to hiring more male sex workers and keep most of the baby oil away from the general public, and babies needed. My Netflix doc on this scandalous subject is coming soon.
Now, Diddy's been transferred to Fort Dix, a low-security prison in New Jersey. A leaked photo shows him walking the courtyard, his beard white, his eyes sunken. For the first time, he looks powerless.
Diddy Combs was transferred to the federal prison at Fort Dix, New Jersey yesterday, where he will start to serve the rest of his 50-month sentence. Combs had been held at a detention center in Brooklyn. He was convicted in July on 2 counts of interstate prostitution. Combs is slated to be released in May of 2028, but could be released earlier for good behavior.
Jaguar Wright and Gene Deal say Diddy chose Fort Dix for a reason. His lawyers argued it was close to New York for family visits. But the real reason? Fort Dix offers a drug rehab program that can cut a year off a sentence. Once again, Diddy's playing the system.
A lot of people look at it like this hasn't affected his pockets technically as far as just on the status level.
It's affected his pockets. It's just left him. He's still got enough to play with.
A lot to play with. I mean.
Yeah, for now. For now. They want him to go to New Jersey. They want him to go to Fort Dix, one of the weakest guarded federal penitentiaries in the United States. I know Fort Dix. It's a real nice place to take somebody. So when they finally get to go outside out in the yard, they can just get somebody to come and extract them right up out of there. You can leave and you don't have to worry about ever being held accountable. See, I'm not dumb. People like being fooled these days. People like being lied to. They want to believe in the land of make-believe. Diddy said sorry, and now we can all go home and have ice cream.
So he got off like a fat rat in a cheese factory. But for a dude like Diddy going to jail and spending all that time, I'm not saying it's going to be rough or nothing like that, because his former president of Bad Boy, Kirk Burrows, with the federal jail. You understand? Lil' Kim with the federal jail. So, you know, because the type of dude he is, you know, he'll make it, he'll be all right. And plus they gonna send him to a camp, bruh. He'll be in somebody's camp or somebody's dormitory, whereas that it'll be real light for him. So, you know, he'll see the streets back again in 24 months. He'll be out within 2 years. It seems like a lot saying 50 months and everything like that, but it's not really a lot, not at all, bro. It's not a lot at all.
Outside the courthouse, Jaguar said the same words she's been saying for years. This isn't over. According to her, there are still more victims, more stories, and more powerful men who think they're untouchable. The industry is full of monsters, and Diddy was just the beginning.
This case that happened in the R. Kelly case, because if that had been properly addressed, this would have been addressed back then. These people have been working together, all in cahoots for all of this time, and it needs to all be addressed. I'm glad it's not just me anymore. I'm glad it's someone else. I'm glad there are other people who need to be heard. I'll be sure. I'm glad they're hearing him. Cassie, I'm glad they're hearing her. Kim Porter. Through, I'll be sure. I'm glad. Natanya Rubin, I'm glad. All of these things. So yeah, it's mixed emotions, but I just know when you pray for something and God answers it, you should be happy.
Diddy spoke to the judge before sentencing, and it sounded like he was taking accountability.
Yeah, accountability for what? Same kind of accountability he took after he told everybody Cassie was lying on him, and then he got popped on my birthday when the video came out on CNN. And then he had to come back and do the whack-a-doodle-doo.
Yeah, I guess accountability for what he got caught for.
How does now nobody not see the apology he gave for Cassie after he called her a liar for months and said that it wasn't true, she was making it all up? How does nobody not see that they're the same apology? How does nobody not see that what he just did in that courtroom was no different than the monologue that was in Blink Twice?
No, man.
It's the same monologue.
Does it account for anything, though, that he started to feel sorry for his actions?
Sorry for his actions?
He's been sitting in NBC for you.
Actually sorry, do you think he would have allowed his legal team to destroy those women like that on that stand? See, you sat there and you let your legal team rip those people to shreds while they were barely being protected by the feds.
Even after being convicted, Diddy's lawyers filed an appeal. He thought he'd get probation, not prison time. 4 years behind bars feels like forever to him. He still can't accept that decades of crimes finally caught up.
In New York City, we are hearing Diddy's attorneys speaking to the media after he was sentenced earlier today. This is live.
Yeah, we are planning to appeal.
Man, I want to hear them, bro.
We are planning to appeal. We think we have strong bases to appeal.
Yeah.
The strongest basis is that the jury reached a verdict on coercion. It found there was not coercion, and I think the judge said coercion today as a basis for a sentence at least a dozen times. We think that is unconstitutional.
Yeah.
We think that a jury verdict should mean more than our jury's verdict seems to mean, and so we are planning to appeal.
Ms. Red-Dipolo, if the prosecution files a cross appeal, what would happen in that regard if they filed a cross appeal and then Sean Diddy Combs get a higher sentence?
He would not get a higher sentence, and they're not gonna cross appeal. We're gonna appeal. We think we're right. and they'll respond to the appeal, and it'll be decided by the Second Circuit as soon as
Tell
we
us
can.
about the conversation you had with your client after the sentencing.
Consensual. The judge clearly thought the sexual encounters weren't consensual.
Because he's
What did you
biased.
make of his remarks?
He's biased. I tell you what, I'm happy to go. So we think that's just absolutely inconsistent with the jury's verdict. I mean, the jury's verdict was resoundingly clear. There was no sex trafficking. There was no racketeering. Everything was consensual. Everything was adult, which is why he was convicted only of the prostitution offense. What we feel happened today was that the judge acted as a 13th juror, one that we did not choose, and that he second-guessed the jury's verdict.
Well, at least the judge was open-minded.
Prison isn't treating Diddy well. Reports say he's already been attacked twice. One night, a knife was found at his throat before guards intervened. He barely survived. It's a reminder. Justice has many faces inside those walls.
Diddy had something very scary happen to him. One of his close friends is speaking out and saying that while he was sleeping at the MDC Brooklyn jail, somebody came and put a knife, pressed it to his throat. Now, as I keep digging into the story, they're saying, yes, a correctional officer or a police officer was the one who came and basically helped him out and, quote unquote, saved him. Yes. And so, obviously Diddy's lawyers are trying to use this as a way to just get him even moved to a different location. But right now, everything is kind of staying as is.
Yeah, his safety being an issue when he's supposed to be, I think in some sort of protected environment. Remember MDC, isn't that where the Epstein situation happened?
No, I thought Diddy's in Brooklyn and Epstein was across the street from Hot 97, the old building.
The lawyers, when they were speaking on Diddy being in prison and the circumstances him being in prison, I didn't never hear about this and nobody ever said anything about this. And I want to know if it's in the prison records. They said one of the guards stopped a dude from shanking Diddy. Now, I'm like, if he was doing all this positive in jail and they was talking about he was, all the inmates loved him and they was employing him and doing standing ovation. I wonder what inmate was trying to shank him. Was that one of the Tupac? Was that one of the Tupac fans? Or that was one of Biggie fans? Because they said that the guard, they said that in court, one of the lawyers, one of the guards stopped one of the individuals that was trying to shank him, bruh. And that was crazy. Nobody, that didn't leak. Everything leaks from prison, but that didn't leak. Nobody wrote home and said, yo, dudes is in here trying to stab Diddy up. But the lawyers mentioned that today. I want to see if they're going to investigate that right there. You know what I'm saying? And base that, or he probably used that, base that on trying to help Diddy getting into one of those camps or one of those programs that, he ain't got to worry about nothing.
Fighters fear Diddy might not survive his sentence, mentally or physically. Gene Deal says Diddy's losing control and might try to end his own life. The deeper you look, the darker it gets. And every day more people are asking, who is Diddy protecting? Who's still hiding in the shadows? Subscribe, drop a comment, and stay tuned. Because Jaguar Wright says this story is far from over.